seat, get out your Chromebooks. We're gonna all wiggle and move around. So, my name is Shane Wells. I teach at Mariloma Middle School, and I teach social studies and AVID 8th grade. Today I taught the digital media and your brain lesson from Common Sense. The class that I taught the lesson to was my 5th period AVID class. It's a college prep elective where the students that we're looking for are first generation kids to go to college. They have middle to high middle grades, and they come from lower socioeconomic families. So we're gonna do the alligators here. The orcas are gonna be there. The giraffes, Rosa, are gonna be right there. The first thing that I do when I teach a common sense lesson is I separate the kids into small groups. Okay, ready, set, go. And I try to do some kind of an activity that gets them talking or to get them communicating with each other. It's like an icebreaker type thing. The reason I do that icebreaker is because when I teach these lessons, I like the students to have a collaborative atmosphere, and this allows them to feel comfortable before the meat of the lesson. What we're gonna need to do is close that tab, open up another tab. The next thing that I do after the icebreaker is I start showing the slides that are provided from Common Sense, and I go through the slides in the order that the lesson plan tells you to. The lesson that we're gonna do today is a Common Sense media lesson. It's on digital media and your brain. We're gonna be talking a lot about social media, video games, YouTube, different medias that we use and how you use them, how they affect you positively, how they affect you negatively. The next thing I do with my students is have them create a mind map listing the things that they do with their cell phones or devices. What are some things that you use your devices for?
Like during the day, I learn something new, or I'm just curious, I would go on Google and look it up.
So you go look up stuff that you learned at school through Google?
Yeah.
We then show the students a video that talks about other students their age and the way that they use social media.
I don't really wish for the days when I didn't have my phone because it gives me so much like stuff.
I think the video really made a difference because the teens were talking about things that I did, like Netflix and social media and how they spend so much time on it. It really made me realize that phones were just a big distraction.
What media habits did the teens in this video talk about in your small groups?
They say there's an autoplay and it just plays it for them, so it passes the time and they're binge watching it more.
I showed the students an image of 3 students sitting on concrete steps, and they're all 3 on their phones texting instead of communicating with each other, and we have a conversation about do they ever see this in their own lives. So in your small groups, discuss what you see, what you think of. Does it remind you of anything?
They're saying that we're being too dependent on the internet and we're
people are too much focused on the phone.
You have to have a good rapport with your students. They have to feel comfortable talking about the topics that are going to be at hand, because some of them can be pretty heavy at times. I think it's important for your students to see that maybe you struggle with the same social media tendencies that they do, because a lot of times students see you as you're an adult, you're a teacher, you're their role model, and that they don't think that you have the same flaws that they might also have. No, I do it all the time. Caught me. I go on Twitter and I'll write something and I'll be like, man, I know that was pretty good. And then I'm like, I only got 2 likes. The next part of the lesson is where students read passages about how other students use apps, and they have to highlight the humane and addictive design in the passages. We're going to be looking at something called humane design. And what this means is if something that an app has in it is designed to be good for you. Do you think that these media habits that these kids were showing, do you think it adds value or meaning to their lives, or does it take away?
I think it takes away time from their lives because they're more focused on their phone instead of going outside and go look at stuff or go in the wildness instead they're always on their phone.
The next thing that the students do is they look at the concept map that they made earlier in the lesson, and they choose one of the medias that they use in their life, and they have to compare the addictive perspectives compared to the humane design. What about Instagram? Who uses Instagram? I know you guys, we have an Instagram page, we have like 400 followers or something, right? What are some of the features for Instagram that maybe get you to be looking throughout the night? Alyssa?
The explore page, because some things pop up and you're like interested, so you scroll down and then you're on the app even more.
The students are then asked to write 3 rules to help them with their behavior as they engage with apps.
I'm always on my phone watching the Dodgers play or the sports, because I have the sports app. So like it updates.
Well, instead of doing that, you can play it on the living room and invite everyone to see it.
Okay, Samantha, can you share with us what your group came out with?
So, for example, when you're doing homework or something important, you could turn off your phone or even give it to someone else and then tell them to give it back to you when you're done doing something.
Do you guys do that at all with your media, or do you tend to fall into that habit where you're trying to do both at the same time? The last thing students do in this lesson is they fill out a Google form that's a reflection and a survey about the lesson. I want you to think of your favorite social media or your favorite type of media. And I want you to fill out what are the good parts, what's the humane design, and what are the addictive aspects. And just have a little bit of a reflection time on what your own personal favorite is. And then we'll let you share out with your table partner. And then we're gonna wrap it up.
Well, this lesson taught me that it helps me create more self-awareness of what I watch and of how I should properly spend my time. It also helps me to realize that I should organize and prioritize my goals.
My suggestion when teaching this lesson is to have fun, to let the kids discuss it, and just let the discussions dictate the way the lesson goes. What did you pick for your favorite media?
Instagram.
Instagram?
It helped me look at how companies use social media as a way to like get you more hooked on your phone. Like on Snapchat, I'd always like see stories, and then after one story passes, like it will go to the next one automatically, which makes me spend even more time on my phone.
Some of the things that we've done to make these digital citizenship lessons successful in class is to build a sense of community in the classroom. We've created an environment where the students feel safe, they feel comfortable talking to me, they feel comfortable talking to each other, they feel comfortable sharing. And one of the things that we've done early on is we've set norms as a class where we're going to respect each other, we're going to let everybody have a voice, and we focus on agreeing appropriately, disagreeing appropriately, and just making sure that everyone feels like they're part of the class. I hope that you've learned something from this lesson and that you can use it this weekend when you're on your devices, and it can make a great impact in your life. If we're not the ones that teach these students how to be safe online, then who's going to do it?